Hello everyone, Michael Landfield here, and thank you for joining me at Peaceful Village Raw Vegan Healing Community. This part of the land is called Tierra Libertad, Freedom Land, because that's what, when we came here, we felt free, so we said this is Freedom Land, or at least I called it Freedom Land. So I'm here today going to talk to you about lethargic vegans and really about power to the vegans, So I want to tell you about lethargic vegans, about decrepit vegans, about deteriorating vegans, about wimpy vegans, about vegans that can't do anything, they can't lift anything, they're so sick and so emaciated. This video is for you, all you that are wondering about, can you be vegan and healthy? Okay. Now, first is, if you want to learn more about Peaceful Village, come check us out at peaceful-village.com. As a volunteer, as a guest, or if you want to come for the healing program, awesome. Or as a visitor, you can come as well. So, just one thing before I want to mention is that everyone in society, is part of society, living in towns and cities, are sick. Truly, they are sick. Even though they don't look like it, and they're doing their daily activities and so forth, and they're going to supermarkets and they're doing their things, they're going to work and so forth, and they have uh, energy and all this kind of things, and they feel good and all this kind of stuff. Everybody is sick. Truly, deep down, everyone is not at their optimal health, holistic health. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. And people can say, I'm so skinny, I'm so emaciated. If you shave his beard, he's going to disappear. His bones are sticking up and all this kind of thing. I tell you something, and this is the truth, and I'm going to tell everybody this. I was skinny my whole entire life. Okay? I was basically fluctuating from anywhere between 115 or 120 pounds up to 145 pounds. And my height, I don't know in centimeters, but because I use centimeter meters like metric and imperial, like interchangeably. But I am 5'7", more or less, or 5'7.5", something like that. So 5'7", and so my BMI index is perfect. Now I fluctuate between 120 and 125, 130 at the end of the day sometimes. But I don't weigh myself anymore, so I don't really know. But from what I believe, I fluctuate between 120 and 130. And according to the body mass index, which I don't really trust science and all this kind of nonsense in medical industry, but according to the body mass index, I'm just on the line. I'm perfect for my weight. So I'm not skinny or lethargic or whatever. I may have some bones showing here and there, but always it was like that. I was always very, very skinny, bones showing. I have my tailbone sticking out a little bit. I have these bones here on top of me sticking out. I have certain bones sticking out because I'm skinny. I have my ribs also sticking out a little bit because I'm skinny. But I'm also strong. Strong. I I really lift. I'm not so strong that I can lift hundreds of pounds or hundreds of kilos on my shoulder, but I can lift enough. I've lifted heavy things that people said, oh, you're gonna get a hernia and all those kind of things. So everybody in society, everybody that's living in towns and cities, especially overweight people, are very sick. And you know what? We don't really know nowadays what the perfect weight or the perfect health is supposed to be, because everybody is not in their optimal health. That's true. And most people, if not everyone, is eating cookery. So really, they're not eating healthy. They're not eating healthy at all. Ants go away. They're not eating healthy at all. So the truth is, the way we know that anyone is healthy is to check the iris. Now, many people believe that checking the iris is still not the accurate way of of seeing if somebody's truly healthy or not. But there was a guy, I don't know who he is or what his name, I don't remember. But there was a guy who basically created or started um, this movement of the iris and checking the irises. So what he noticed is that for there was a dead or injured bird, I think a crow, and the crow was very injured, and he noticed some markings in the crow's eyes, in the crow's irises. And then after taking care of the crow and giving him all the nutrition and all the water and everything that the crow needed, the crow started to recover and started to gain optimal health. And the irises started to change. And all the markings, the white and the black and all these blotches that the crow was having in his or her iris was diminishing. And noticing that as soon as the bird was healthy enough to leave, basically, to be rehabilitated and leave, most or if not, all the markings in the eyes, all the blotches, all the dark spots were completely gone. So the eyes were so much more, the irises were so much more clear. And even the white part, the sclerosis, was more clear. So what that gentleman noticed, and he did this with multiple animals over time, started to do research and stuff, and other people started to notice the same all around the world, is that when you have a sick being, an animal being, may it be human or non-human, and you see their eyes, you'll see that there's a lot of different markings. Dark, the irises are usually dark, very blotchy, like brown or very green. Green is very toxic. So if you have green eyes, you're very toxic. Blue eyes and brown eyes seems to be the eyes that we should be having, the colors. But not dark, not black, not with white lines or black lines or rings around the eyes or things like that. Really about having completely clear eyes. And the only way to truly know from now or before to now is really to get pictures like iris pictures done, iridology pictures done. Just the clear, very clear iris pictures of each eye, and get somebody to analyze the actual eye for you. And in Peaceful Village, we're going to be learning all about that and teaching people about that and doing this in the Healing Center. So we're still learning a lot. So this is an ongoing process of learning for years and years and decades of learning about healing and helping people to heal. So everyone is sick. You can tell by the irises. In fact, many of the books that we have learned and read from about irises, uh, people saying that every eye or every person that they took a look at the eye is sick. No one was really healthy. And I don't know who this was that said this. I can't remember which person that said this, but one author said uh, that they've looked at hundreds of different people throughout the years, and they noticed that every single one of them, all the people that came to them for healing, basically, all of them were very unhealthy. All of them were unhealthy. None of them were healthy. The people that claimed they were healthy and were maybe nutritionists or whoever, they were not healthy at all. And so that's the thing. They're not healthy. And people claim, well, you need to eat this and you need to eat that and specifically this and specifically that. And there's different theories. And I don't have all the answers. You know, I'm still learning. I'm still healing myself in every way, holistically. I don't claim to have optimal health. I don't claim to be a perfectly unsick person. I'm still sick like everybody else, truly. So really, yeah, periods of time. There are times when I can't even get up from bed. There are times when I have so much energy that I do so much throughout the days and weeks and months. It just depends on many factors, you know. Um, yeah, we're programmed through society and culture. We've been living artificial lives for most of our lives. For more than 40 years, we've been living artificial lives. And it's now just the last few years we've been living holistically and healing holistically in the jungle. And so we're not perfect. We're not doing everything perfect. We're still, in some ways, struggling with certain things, but we're doing our best to live as healthfully and as best as we can, to do the most good that we can and the least harm as we can. And so I want to talk a little bit more about this thing about, can you actually be healthy as a vegan? Is there such a thing as healthy omnivore or healthy, let's say, flexitarian, or healthy plant-based eater, or healthy meat eater, or dairy egg eater? Is there very, very healthy, you know? And I say they could be in any category, whatever people eat. And it's not just about eating. That's the whole thing that people get confused. It's not about just about the diet. That is just a small part of it, but probably one of the biggest parts of health. Okay, there's lots and lots and lots and lots. In fact, we're writing a book that really is taking a longer time than we expect, because we're just putting a lot of effort, a lot of hard work into this, and we're rewriting and rewriting and putting more information and rewriting, and there's so much to learn and so much to put in this book that basically it's taking longer than expected. Hopefully this year sometime, we're hopefully this year or early next year we're gonna release the book. But let's see how this goes. But ultimately, in any eating regimen or any diet, we can have healthy people, we can have non-healthy people. So people that are eating animal products can be healthy and cannot be healthy. Some people that are eating vegan can be healthy or cannot be healthy. So it depends. And there's also degrees of health, you know. So depending on where you want to swing the pendulum. So for example, as a vegan, you can be eating whole foods, mostly raw, pretty healthy, you know. But we cannot forget that there are other life factors that come into play when it comes to health. So not only is it the diet or the food that we're eating that is a big thing, but there's other factors, you know. We mentioned this in our book. We're still formulating the ideas and all this kind of stuff. So I cannot say it's an actual 7-step process or 10-step process or 3 ideas or 3 things, because we're still coming up with the ideas. But basically, there's a few ideas or few things that we need to do besides just eating healthfully. Now, what do I consider? First, let's talk about the diet. So what do I consider is a healthy, truly healthy diet? Like, what are we supposed to be eating? Well, ultimately, I believe that one can thrive as a raw vegan. In this world, one can thrive as a raw vegan. But if one is living in towns and cities, polluted towns and cities, and we're getting our our food from the supermarkets, and it's not organic and all this kind of stuff, and we don't really know where the food is coming from and how long it's taken to transport and all this kind of stuff. We really don't know the quality of the food. Okay, if we're growing our own food in the tropics or subtropical areas of the world, then of course it's going to be much healthier, especially if we're doing it veganically with no animal inputs like manure from animals or blood meal, bone meal, fish meal, feather meal, all this kind of stuff. So we don't use animals. So basically get rid of the domesticated animals out of the picture and use our own human manure, use our own urine, use our own organic compost, this kind of thing. So this is really, really the keys. So diet basically is raw or mostly raw, and removing salt and oil from the picture. Salt and oil are just complete junk, okay? If someone wants to eat cookery, anything that's cooked, like cooked meals, Get rid of salt and oil. It's junk. It's nothing but garbage. It's gonna clog the system. No matter what people say, if they say, "Oh, some salt is okay," or "some oils are better than others," get rid of it. It's horrible. Um, yeah, I noticed the difference getting rid of oil and salt. It's for many years I've been doing that. Time to time, I will maybe have salt from time to time, or if I'm doing certain therapies that require salt, sometime it's in my mouth, or I swallow some of it or something. But for the most part, I have gotten rid of it. Also, processed sugar. I have gotten rid of anything processed for the most part. Sometimes there will be periods of times when I eat processed sugar. I try to get raw as much as possible. Here it's hard to find, in this place where we live, it's hard to find organic things. So we do our best. So that's the diet part. So basically, but can one eat animal products and still be healthy? And the answer is, if we do it very, very rarely, and we're eating animals that come from. By the way, I'm not endorsing eating animals. I'm not endorsing to do this. I ultimately I say go vegan, because eating animals harms animals, uses them, sees them as property, all this kind of thing. But if one, for example, is eating animal products, for example, just hypothetical question, if someone is eating some animals, what is the optimal, let's say, what is the optimal, right? Can someone be healthy eating animals, is basically some questions that I get from people. And the thing is, depending on how much they eat, and also what other lifestyle factors they are holistically addressing. So we need to also understand the other factors of life. So for example, the other things that I want to mention are are the environment. So how pristine, or where are you living? Where are we living? Are we living in polluted towns and cities? Still getting our food from the supermarkets? Still in concrete and cement houses and buildings and this kind of thing? Are we living in nature? If we're not truly living in nature, and I'm not saying go to nature 1 hour a day, or a few hours a day. I'm talking about actually living in nature. Are we living in a rural area completely in nature? Are we getting the sun all year round? Are we living in cold climates? This kind of stuff. So if we're living away from radiation, from cell towers, from this kind of stuff. So here in Peaceful Village, we live in a completely pristine area. There's no cell towers for at least 15 kilometers away. Electricity towers are about 10 kilometers away. We're really in a completely pristine area. There's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing here like that. Completely no cell towers at all. So no 4G, no 3G, no 2G, no 1G, no whatever Gs here. It's completely free of that. In town, they do have, I think, 4 or 5G, but yeah, it's completely pristine here. The rivers are pristine. Everything is pristine. So we're taking care of that. If you're still living in towns and cities and cold places, we're in the tropics. We're in warm places. For the most part, all year round is warm, except maybe a little bit in the mornings and night can be a little bit cool. But overall, it's warm. You can walk naked for the most part. Ultimately, yeah, we need to take care of the environmental factor. So if we are living in a urban or suburban area, get out. We need to live in a pristine area. So that's the first factor, and I think a really big factor. Now, coupled with coupled with there might be a bus going by. Coupled with that is I see a lot of raw vegans and even vegans, but especially raw vegans that are that are just deteriorating. I see a lot of them. I see many of them, I'm not going to mention names, but many of them now wearing glasses, many of them now getting bald, many of them now getting very wrinkly and all this kind of thing. And I've noticed two things with these type of people. A lot of them are heavily into social media, into YouTube, into Facebook, into responding to comments and all these things, and doing a lot of videos and editing a lot of these videos and making professional videos. So most of the time is spent online. Most of the time is spent around Wi-Fi and radiation, and a lot of them live in towns or cities. So they have a lot of radiation. They're exposed to a lot of radiation with looking at the screen, for example, at the phone or at the computer screen, with Wi-Fi and radiation all over the place, cell towers close to them, this kind of thing. So this, I believe, part of the environmental factor, this I do believe and feel is by far the worst thing that deteriorates people. I didn't notice this until recently, but after examining people and starting examining their lives and what they're doing, a lot of them live in towns and cities. A lot of them are exposed to a lot of harmful radiation. And you know, a lot of the new devices nowadays that have 4 or 5 cameras, and they have very powerful Wi-Fi connectivity and all these kind of things, these devices are very harmful. Many of them are the most harmful things that we can do for our eyes and for this kind of things. And when we're on, for example, uh, when we're on devices like phones, tablets, computers, and so forth, what tends to happen is we tend to blink less. There's a light called blue light on the phones and devices, and there's also something called blue light filter where you can filter out the blue light. But also, it's not just the blue light; it's the fact that something within the devices that basically don't don't let us or allow us to blink as frequently. So blinking, what basically blinking does is it keeps the eyes moist. Okay, it keeps the eyes moist. So when we don't blink frequently, when we're reading something on a screen for many hours and all this kind of thing, we tend to blink less. And that creates dry eyes. And over time, that could lead to eye trouble. In fact, I remember when I was writing a few of my books, I just dedicated most of my time for writing. I was dedicating many hours every day, almost all the day, for writing and writing and writing and writing. And what I noticed over time is that I my eyes were deteriorating, and I literally almost got blind. I couldn't even open my eyes. My eyes were completely encrusted with so much mucus, and I noticed that at some point I couldn't see. I was almost getting blind. I had to completely, for 1 week straight, I had to completely refrain from doing anything. I was just sleeping at some point of when I was a vegan many years ago. I just had to sleep. I didn't use any electronic devices. I didn't do anything, and for the most part, I was just sleeping. I was mostly fasting, but I also had juices, freshly squeezed juices from time to time, and some smoothies and stuff. But for the most part, I was just resting and sleeping. So that's what I was doing. So this is the things that I did because I literally was ruining my eyes by being on the devices, typing basically away, trying to finish one of my books. So radiation is very, very, very crucial. There's another thing to understand is the people around us. Are we around people that are like-minded? Are we around people that are positive? Are we around people that are not angry and they really have their emotions are really stable and all this kind of thing? So it's the people, the support that we have, the people that we're around, all this kind of thing. How is our emotions and mental state? Is our emotions all over the place? Are we angry all the time? Are we judging people all the time? This kind of stuff. Are we doing all those things? So emotions and mental state are very, very important. Um, Many other lifestyle factors like movement, for example. What type of movement are we doing every day? Are we sitting and sedentary all day on the computer, just looking at the computer, blinking very infrequently, or are we getting physical activity every day? And I would say at least an hour or two every day of some kind of physical activity. Now there are different schools of thought There are different schools of thought about what kind of physical activity or exercise people should do. And that's all up to you. Whatever you like. If some people like to walk, brisk walking. If some people like to run or jog. If some people like to do yoga or tai chi. If some people like to do some kind of aerobic exercises. Or some people like to do gardening and with a shovel and this kind of thing. If some people, oh my goodness, there's an ant in my hair. Ants, we love you so much. They rule the world. Ants. They're the king of the jungle. Ants. That's another video one day. So ultimately, no exercise I think is better than another exercise. Because it all depends on what you resonate with. But I think going to a gym and lifting weights is not really a natural thing. If we really want to do something like that, we can lift heavy bags of groceries, for example, or we can lift heavy watermelon or big rock or something. But really, those are the other things to consider besides the diet. So there's a lot of lifestyle factors. And also getting the amount of sun and barefoot walking and getting the sun on your skin and all this kind of stuff. Those are all important. Bathing in pristine water. These are very, very, very important things. So bathing in pristine places, in pristine water, bathing with the rain, drinking from the rain, eating pristine food, especially raw vegan, especially low fat. Low fat, I believe, is the ultimate thing. And what I mean by low fat is not eating as much fat as possible. Overt fat like avocados, durians, akis, all other types of fat. Basically eating as low fat as possible. Doesn't mean that there's no fat. That's why it's called low fat, not no fat. So everything has protein, fat, carbohydrates, all these kind of scientific things. I really don't care about those terms, but all plants, for example, this leaf right here, and some people say, hey, you killed the leaf. But all plants that are edible, okay, this, by the way, I don't know if this is edible, but I'm just saying that all plants give you everything that you need. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to survive. Plants wouldn't be able to survive. So, just to recap what I want to say, and I know these videos are getting lengthy, but really it's about everyone can be healthy, and everybody can also be sick. If you're vegan, or if you're not vegan, or if you're raw vegan, there's many, many, many factors that come to play. And when we check the iris, that's when we know if somebody's really truly sick or not. And I'm checking my iris, and I know that I'm not perfect. I see a lot of problems in my irises. But I notice that it has been improving over time. And that these years that now I'm holistically healing, it's clearing up the eyes tremendously. And I notice from periods of time, sometimes my beard, I don't know if you can see, but sometimes my beard will turn kind of less gray, but now it's a little bit more gray. So I noticed that the more and more I become healthy, the less and less gray, because I used to have a lot of gray in my hair, and then now it's like the gray has almost diminished from my hair. It's just my beard that there's gray. And some people say I look very old because of my beard, for example. But if I were to shave, for example, which I don't want to because you destroy the skin and support the razor industry and all this kind of stuff. Basically, when I shave, I will look very young. People say, before I had a beard, people have said that I look 18, 20 years of age. And now with my beard, especially because it's gray or silver, is that I look much older, much older. But yeah, I feel ageless. I am ageless. There's no age. I don't have any age. But from the Gregorian calendar, according to the Gregorian calendar, I'm 40 something. I believe if I was born the time that I was born, I'm in my early 40s, but I feel ageless. I am ageless. I'm healing more and more every day. Some people may still think that I'm completely lethargic and that I'm emaciated and I'm decrepit and I am deteriorating. And people can think what they want. But I know the truth inside. I hold the truth because I am who I am. And I know who I am. And yes, there are some days when I can't get up out of bed. And I feel lazy or I feel tired or I feel lethargic. And there's many days and weeks and months and periods of time that I have so much energy. So we're doing all our best to heal. We're doing all our best to do the best that we can on this earth, to create heaven on earth. That's what it's all about. Really, it's not about bashing, about judging, about saying bad things about people. It's about truly just being authentic and truthful and saying, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not living healthily and optimally. I'm doing my best that I can to live this way, to live as optimally and as healthy as I possibly can. And I think that's all I want to say. That's really all I want to say. So thank you so much for joining me. If you have any tips or anything about holistically healing or about this vegan versus non-vegan, who is more healthier, but definitely I want to say one thing before I go, and the last thing is that for the most part, when people transition from animal products, from eating animal products to plant-based or vegan, especially eating more whole foods and more raw foods, they start to feel better. They start their cancers and their heart disease and their asthma and their diabetes and their stroke, brain tumors and all these things, they go away, start diminishing slowly. And I believe even teeth problems and bone problems and all these problems can be alleviated by eating very healthy and living very healthy. It's not just about eating. It's not just about the diet part. It's about the holistically healing. And that's what we're going to be talking about in our book, The Way We Heal. So I'm going to be linking that also down below, The Way We Heal. Learn more about that book. See the video that Aurora did about talking a little bit more about the book and this kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's it, everybody. If you want more information about Peaceful Village, please check us out at peaceful-village.com. That's peaceful hyphen, like a dash, village.com. So all kind of one word combined, peaceful-village.com. We'll post it, everything down below. But basically, we can be healthy. We can be sick or we can be healthy. And that's the thing. There's no one answer here. It's very, very broad topic. It cannot be summed up in 2 minutes. I think I addressed everything. If not, I will upload maybe a part 2 if needed. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But in any case, you will know all about holistic healing through our book, The Way We Heal, Reconnecting to the Power of Nature. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'll see you soon.